So I've been making videos on productivity for more than 6 years now, and the one thing I've learned that stands out above everything else is that in order to live an extraordinary life, you need to master the skill of allocating your energy and resources ultra efficiently over each 24-hour period on a consistent basis. So what does that mean? It essentially boils down to using your 24 hours as efficiently as possible. But how do you do that? It's quite vague, right? Well, I've been researching, teaching, coaching, and making videos on this topic for 6 years, and I've taken the 12 most fundamental pillars that make us productive and created the 12x productivity system, which I'm going to go through for free in this video. Because when I make a YouTube video, for the whole video, I'm usually talking about just one small element to productivity. So it might be a video specifically about the 80-20 rule, right? Or about habits. But the 12x productivity system takes a far more holistic approach. It takes each of the 12 fundamental productivity pillars and ties them all together, almost like a checklist to optimize your productivity and essentially optimize your life, right? So you live a happier, healthier, and wealthier life. So the 2-week productivity course is live, where I'm actually teaching you face-to-face to be engaging, to be interactive. We have exercises, activities, we have quizzes, a community, and a team of mentors to help you every step of the way, as well as me. So if you're interested in joining, I've added a link in the description below. You can check it out. It will be launching in about a month's time, and early birds will get a massive 50% off the original price, and I can guarantee you this course will never be priced this low again. So do check it out. Please don't procrastinate fixing your procrastination. Click the link in the description below. But if you can't afford the course, that's totally okay. In this video, we're gonna go through the outline of the 12x productivity system so you can still use it and implement it into your own life, starting with the first principle. Principle 1. Upgrading your mindset and overcoming limited beliefs. And this is the first principle because it's the single most important element to this whole system. It's about priming your mindset. You need to completely change the way that you approach productivity, because the idea here is that for the 12x productivity system to not just slightly improve your productivity, right? But it's designed to completely transform it. So how do you do that? One of the best ways, a method that I absolutely swear by, is networking with people that are where you want to be in 1 year's time, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time. Because I wrote an article a few months ago called "The #1 Golden Rule That Transformed My Life," because it really did transform my life. It made me realize that I'm thinking way too small, that I need to literally 10x my goals and stop living in the limited bubble I imposed on myself. Another way is to really kind of deeply study the all-time greats, whoever it is at the very top of your field. Read their books, watch their interviews, watch their videos, their podcasts, their social media feeds, and after a while of studying them, you'll realize that almost by osmosis, or almost subconsciously, your self-limiting restrictions will start to lift because you're constantly reading about other people that have achieved incredible things. Principle 2. Building your 4 pillars for a successful life. And by the way, do stay to the end of the video because each of these fundamental principles work seamlessly with each other to create a super streamlined productivity system. And I think that's why it's so effective, because each pillar links with the next. But if you don't implement each one, it significantly reduces the effectiveness of the overall system. So principle 2 is about building your 4 pillars for a successful life, because extreme productivity can be dangerous. It's really easy to kind of experience tunnel vision on one project where you forget about everything else going on in your life. And I think we've all been there, right? I know I have, where I've been so focused on my work that I've dropped the ball in other areas of my life. But it's so incredibly important that while you're doubling your productivity, even tripling your productivity, you still ensure the 4 pillars of your life, so health, wealth, people, and happiness, are also optimized and taken care of. It's absolutely fundamental for long-term productivity in order not to burn out or for the other areas of your life to start crumbling because you've become a workaholic. Principle 3. 80-20 your life to get more done with less effort. So the 80-20 rule encapsulates this idea of working smarter, not harder. It's a common misconception that productivity is about getting more things done, when in reality, productivity is about completing the most important tasks on a consistent basis, right? It's about being extremely strategic with how you're spending your 24 hours. So let me give you an example. I used to spend 8 hours preparing for each YouTube video. That's quite a long time, a full work day pretty much. I'd spend about 4 hours reading books, reading scientific journals and studies, and I'd quote those studies in the videos, and I'd spend another 4 hours writing and making the videos absolutely perfect, and I'd upload the video, and let's say that kind of video got on average 50,000 views. But then what I did was I gave myself a deadline. I was like, I have 4 hours to prepare for this video, so half the time it normally takes. And guess what? I prepared for the video in 4 hours. There was a little less research and I wouldn't read as many scientific studies, if any, honestly, but I'd upload the video, and those kind of videos also got 50,000 views. Actually, in some instances, they got far more views because the videos were simpler and more kind of straightforward, less technical, I guess. So that's an example of how working smarter trumped working harder, essentially saving me 4 hours a week. Another example, watching YouTube. If you want to take massive action in your life, YouTube just doesn't cut it anymore, because knowledge itself is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is only useful if it is followed by action. If you really want to significantly improve your productivity and drastically change the way that you live your life, you need to take massive action. And my 2-week live productivity course is designed to do exactly that, to kind of trigger you into actually taking action and to stop you from just sitting there telling yourself you'll do it tomorrow, right? Principle 4. How to strategically and systematically beat procrastination. Procrastination is the single biggest enemy to living an extraordinary life. It's so incredibly important that you learn how to deal with procrastination. I mean, it's just a necessary life skill in my opinion. And there are a few strategies that can be really effective, like minimal viable action, for example, so doing literally the bare minimum. For example, if you want to go to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning, then setting your alarm clock at 5 a.m., changing your clothes and walking to the gym, literally just walking to the gym. And when you're there, you'll probably feel like it's not a big deal spending 45 or so minutes doing a small workout. There are other things like having a task list on your phone and planning your day the night before, so as soon as you wake up, you know exactly what you need to do. You don't even have to think about it. Principle 5. Building your system of productivity habits to streamline your productivity. Life shouldn't be this constant uphill battle all the time. You shouldn't have to be forcing yourself to be productive every day and wrestling with procrastination just to get things done right. But we've all been there. We all know what it's like to feel completely unmotivated and unproductive. And that's because naturally our levels of motivation fluctuate throughout the year. Sometimes you feel motivated and sometimes you don't. So when you are feeling motivated to change, when you are feeling inspired, that's when you need to create a structure of habits. So when your motivation does drop, you have a system of habits to fall back onto and keep your productivity levels consistent, because it's this kind of set of habits that are going to automate certain processes in your life so you don't have to rely on self-discipline or motivation to follow through with them. Principle 6. Optimizing your daily routine to maximize productivity. The 12x productivity system is aimed to significantly increase your daily output, and here's the important bit, in the most efficient way possible, meaning that your productivity significantly increases, but the effort and energy you use during the day stays pretty much the same. Again, it's about working smarter rather than harder, right? And optimizing your daily routine is one of the most effective ways that you can do that. And there's a reason why almost every productivity YouTuber has several morning routine videos or evening routine videos, including my own channel, because, well, number one, they're quite interesting to watch, right? But number two, our daily routines really can make the difference between having a super productive day or letting the day just pass without getting much work done. Principle 7. The essential productivity tools to organize your life. Your productivity is a measure of how efficient your processes are. So building a system of productivity tools into your life can streamline your workflow and give you an enormous advantage over your competition. They allow you to avoid overwhelm, organize your time, track progress, and automate certain processes to kind of free your time and mind for more important tasks. Since I started using software like Notion and Trello and Slack, which I'll be honest with you, I was a bit late to the game because I didn't want to necessarily spend time learning new software, but once I did, in terms of productivity, it is one of the best things that I've ever done. Principle 8, turning your procrastination device into a productivity powerhouse. So our phones can be so incredibly destructive to our productivity. I mean, you probably don't need me to tell you that, right? But kind of paradoxically, they can also help massively with productivity and time management. About a year ago, I completely redesigned the layout of my phone. So now it's like carrying a tiny personal assistant in my pocket everywhere I go. As soon as I open my home screen, there are only productivity apps there, my task list, which is the single most important app on my entire phone. And then I swipe left and I have my calendar, which organizes pretty much my entire life. Then I have my weekend task list because there are things that are less important that can be postponed to the weekend. And then I have my habit tracker. It's just one way in which you can significantly reduce the chances of you procrastinating on your phone by hiding away all social media apps and just having productivity apps staring back at you every time you unlock your phone. Principle 9. Upgrade your life by harnessing the power of self-education. So in this day and age, the problem isn't access to knowledge, right? You can Google the answer to virtually any question, or you can even search on YouTube and you'll get a full 5 or 10 minute video giving you the answer. The problem now is processing the huge amounts of information that we have available to us at our fingertips and retaining it in our long-term memory in the most efficient way possible. And by making this process faster and more efficient, so by learning things faster, you're then able to make better, more informed decisions which can make you infinitely more productive. You're essentially supercharging your brain, which can then supercharge your productivity. And the single best strategy, at least in my opinion, for this is to really work on processing the information you're learning. It's that idea of active learning versus passive learning, right? Where if you watch a YouTube video, that alone is passive learning. But if you're asking yourself questions, if you're taking notes, if you're teaching other people, that's active learning. And that's how you shortcut the learning process. And the main reason why I created the 2-week life productivity course was because right now, watching YouTube, you're probably sitting in a passive state, right? And that's a problem because information without actively processing that information is rarely maintained. How many times have you watched a YouTube video, maybe one of my YouTube videos, and thought, this is amazing, this content will change my life, and you get excited about it, but then you move on to the next video and you never do a thing about it because watching YouTube, reading books, even paying tens of thousands to attend lectures at university, you're learning in a passive state. But how much will you actually remember? So the 2-week productivity course, link in the description below, is designed to actually trigger massive action in your life. It's what we call active learning because we have activities, exercises, quizzes, and the lectures and workshops are interactive because I'll be teaching you live, so I can actually ask you questions and you can actually reply, right? It's a two-way information. Principle 10. The intrinsic relationship between health and long-term productivity. I couldn't create a productivity system without having health as a fundamental pillar within it. So our health is arguably the single most important factor that determines our long-term productivity, and it does need to be addressed. That means keeping your nutrition, exercise, and sleep in check. So living a healthier lifestyle promotes more engagement at work, deeper focus, and more energy just overall. And when you have the energy, you can take any of your life to the next level. And I'll say it again because it's important. Our health is the single most important factor that determines our long-term productivity, but at the same time, it's maybe the most overlooked part. Even just 20 minutes of being active a day, or joining a local sports club, or literally just taking the stairs instead of taking the lift, These small decisions can completely revolutionize your long-term productivity. Principle 11, how to almost guarantee success with the 1% rule. This is how powerful the 1% rule can be. Imagine if there was an almost guaranteed way that you could become 38% better every year. Meaning every single year you become 38% more successful, you achieve 38% higher in your exams, you lift 38% heavier in the gym, you make 38% more money. It might seem like only 38%, but that's an enormous difference. The kind of difference that the people around you will notice. And most people live day by day where the events of yesterday have no bearing on the events of today, and the events of today have no bearing on the events of tomorrow. And this means that your life will simply run in a flat line until the day that you die. But if we make a concerted effort to build every day on top of the other, and we take one tiny gem that happened and consciously learn from it, then over 1 year, from 2 years, 5 years, that's when remarkable things can start to happen. Principle 12. Harnessing extreme focus in a distracted world. Being able to stay intensely focused when we're working is almost like a superpower, because someone who is trained on how to work with extreme focus often only has to work about half the number of hours as someone who, when they work, they keep zoning out and getting distracted. So how do we do that? We are at our most productive when we enter into a state of flow, right? Where we are so laser focused on the task at hand that we completely forget about what is going on around us. And ways we can enter into a state of flow is to work in chunks, so working for 20 minutes, then taking a 5-minute break. It's also called the Pomodoro technique, because there have been studies that show that our brains can actually only focus with 100% concentration for periods of about 20 minutes at a time. Also choosing just one task rather than multitasking. Multitasking absolutely destroys productivity in most cases because we're constantly switching from one task to another. Becoming unavailable, essentially when no one can contact you, so turning off notifications on your phone, closing email, and going somewhere private to work is something that I do that I find incredibly effective in helping reach a state of flow. The 12x productivity system takes a holistic view on productivity, which I think is really lacking in the productivity space, and I'm guilty of this. When I talk about productivity, I usually just talk about one specific area of productivity, right? But I think we need to kind of take a step back and see productivity for what it is. It's a lifestyle change. In the same way, if you want to run a 10K marathon, you don't just focus on running on a treadmill, right? You need to get your diet in check, your sleep, your stress levels. You need to educate yourself on stretching and injury prevention. You need a solid training plan. You need the right tools. So supportive running shoes, access to a gym, maybe you go out and buy an Apple Watch. It's all of these elements that you bring together that accumulate into you being able to successfully run that 10K marathon. And if you fall short in even just one of those areas, it's likely that you're either going to sustain an injury or burn out before the marathon even starts, or even when you do start the marathon, maybe you're not able to finish it. So that right there was a super quick summary of the 12x productivity system that has helped completely transform my life. If you want to learn more about the 12x productivity system, again, you can check out the 2-week live cohort productivity course. The link is in the description below, where I'll be teaching you with live lectures and workshops alongside a team of mentors to support you along the way, because at the end of the day, these YouTube videos can only get you so far. There's a 50% offer for early birds if you get in there fast, and I can guarantee you this course will never be priced this low again. And I look forward to talking with you on the inside in the live calls and workshops when the course launches.